My name is Angus Trumble and I'm Senior Curator of Paintings and Sculpture here at the Yale Center for British Art. My first book, A Brief History of the Smile, began when I was asked to give a talk at a conference of dentists. And after that, the dentists, doctors and dentists talked to each other. So the dentists recommended me to the orthopedic surgeons who were having a conference about sports injuries. And I was asked to give a talk at that conference. And so I gave a talk about gesture, and that is what led me ultimately to write The Finger, a Handbook. Quite a big chunk of my book is about pointing. Rude pointing, useful pointing, pointing to indicate, but also pointing as a technique of military command, which is very ancient. Here in this marvellous portrait of Admiral Lord Bridport, we see pointing used for both military command and indication, because with the same hand the Admiral points to his flagship, the Royal George, in the background. This is an actress, Mrs. Abington, portrayed by Sir Joshua Reynolds in the part of Miss Prue in Congreve's Love for Love, which was a restoration comedy that enjoyed a very successful revival in the later 18th century. A lot of the book is about body language, but there's also a lot in it about the thumb. And one of the original questions that I started with is the thumb a finger? And I'm pleased to say that that question was answered resoundingly in the affirmative. The thumb is the finger that put us on top of the evolutionary tree. Its opposability, which with each of the other digits, is the makes the hand the marvellous tool that it is. In this picture, though, we see the thumb deployed as a sort of fascinator. The way Miss Prue plays the thumb over her lower lip is a marvellously sensual device deployed by Reynolds with very disarming subtlety. In this representation of the sense of touch, the artist Philippe Mercier divides the composition into two halves, a pair of lovers on the right and another pair who have been disrupted by an angry cat that scratched the young man's hand. Pain and pleasure. The sense of touch is an important protagonist in my book, and it was the sense of touch that, as far back as Aristotle, gave the ancients the hardest time to make sense of. The eyes were clearly the seat of vision, the ears were clearly the seat of hearing, the nose was clearly the seat of smell, but Aristotle had great difficulty deciding where it was exactly that the organ, which organ it was that touch related to. He decided, deprived of any knowledge of the central nervous system, he decided on the heart. Happenstance and serendipity played a big part in this project, but there's a larger principle as well, because if you cut deeply enough into one narrow seam of human experience, or in this case anatomy, hopefully you gain access to rather more. And it was my hope that by writing a book about fingers, I could allow, in the end, the finger itself to point to various interesting, profound, and intriguing aspects of us.